Hello and welcome. This is the news at 6 on MITV. I am Tomi Singh Ojo. President Muhammadu Buhari has in Kaduna on Thursday recalled with nostalgia how he narrowly escaped being bombed near the Kawo Bridge while traveling to Katsina in July 2014. Buhari, who was at the newly constructed Kawo Bridge executed by El-Rufai's administration, said there was an attempt to bomb him at the market nearby, but his security escort were vigilant to repel the attack. The Kawo Bridge was a project many said had become a cynosure, which had attracted many tourists to Kaduna since its inception. As part of the visit to Kaduna, President Muhammadu Buhari commissioned the ultra-modern sports and shopping complex at Muritala Square, Kaduna, where he reiterated the likelihood of his staying in Kaduna after leaving office. The president commended the foresight and developmental strides of the El-Rufai administration, pointing out that Kaduna would be difficult for a long-time visitor to recognize. And Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the Vice President, today presided over the first National Economic Council meeting in 2022 at the State House Conference Hall, Abuja. The council membership includes the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Muhammad Bello, and the 36 state governors. The NEC meeting is physically attended by some state governors, while others attended virtually from their state capitals. A communique is expected to be issued at the end of the meeting after being briefed by relevant government agencies on economic programs of the government. The NEC, which meets monthly, is constitutionally empowered to advise the President on the nation's economic matters. And the House of Representatives has passed the Electoral Amendment Bill on Thursday. The lawmakers, however, revised the compulsory direct primary clause. The bill was passed after the removal of the Clause 84 requiring political parties to select candidates through direct primaries. The Senate had on Wednesday included consensus mode of primary in the Electoral Amendment Bill as suggested by President Muhammadu Buhari. Both chambers of the National Assembly, the Senate and the House of Representatives, deleted compulsory direct primaries from the bill. While the House gave options of parties adopting direct or indirect primaries, the Senate included direct or indirect primaries as well as consensus mode as suggested by the President. Buhari had last year vetoed the electoral bill and sent it back to the National Assembly over the restriction of political parties to direct primaries. And still in the House, they have moved to investigate the alleged missing 178,459 firearms and ammunition from the armory of the Nigerian Police Force. This was sequel to a motion of urgent public importance moved by the Deputy Minority Leader, Honorable Toby Okechukwu, on Thursday at plenary. Honorable Toby Okechukwu said this was contained in the 2019 report of the Auditor General of the Federation, which was further stated that over 88,000 of the missing arms are AK-47 assault rifles, which could not be accounted for by the police. House of Representatives correspondent Linda Ike reports that Honorable Okechukwu noted that the fight against terrorism and banditry cannot be concluded without arms. Idris Washe, however, said the ad hoc committee already set up by the House should be allowed to carry out criminal aspects of the investigation instead of constituting a new committee. The motion was subsequently adopted and referred to the Standard Committee for further legislative action.
Instead of queuing behind of the Auditor General's report of 2017, 2018, 20, this should be brought up to speed.
Police and their list. This issue of now arms and amputations disappearing and ended up where they may be with armed robbers is part of it.
Intending with the motion that we passed before the exit of our House, of the committee constituted to look into the issue of those who are releasing criminals, and this is a very much related motion to it. I will have said in line with our rules to allow the police committee to report. We'll have a duplication of function.
I think this motion is in order. It captures both the prayers, both the views, opinions canvassed by my leader, the Deputy Speaker, and Honorable Fulata. Because if you look at the second leg of the prayer, sir, it's very clear.
Since we've already set up an ad hoc committee, whether erroneously or not, I don't know, let them continue or bring a motion to rescind that decision. I think that's the best, the procedure, the way to go about it.
The Director General, Nigeria Institute of International Affairs, NIIA, Professor Egosa Osage, has expressed the agency's readiness to strengthen its capacity and deliverables in 2022. The GG said this in accordance with the agency's mandate of core research, promotion of interest, and understanding of international affairs. It made this known during a roundtable discussion on Pakistan-Nigeria relations, avenues of cooperation in Lagos. Professor Osage explained that collaboration with other countries is inexcusable and in this regard. The DG noted that the agency has lined up 10 new collaborations within the first quarter of the year. Speaking on the rationale behind the roundtable, he said it is to engage collaborative research and collaborative studies, also the exchange of researchers who would focus on particular needs of all countries. He explained that they had been able to identify the defense industry, such as the military and other security forces, including trade and economic relations. The Lagos State government has beckoned on the entire Christians to emulate the virtues of the good deeds of the late president of the Christ Apostolic Mission Church, CAMC, Pastor Adesoji Ajayi, who died after a brief illness. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu made the call while speaking at a special songs of praise in honor of the late sage in his church at Abulegba. Governor Sanwo-Olu, who was represented by his special advisor on chieftaincy affairs, Elder Bayo Oshiyemi, who is also a member of the church, stated that the deceased was very generous and he was a great philanthropist, and he will be greatly missed.
He was a generous man, very kind. He was philanthropic, and he relished education and assisted so many members of the mission to achieve their lifelong ambition of having proper education. Some of those who benefited are attested to that today, and I believe that the era of Simeon Ajayi in CMC cannot be forgotten in a hurry.
The Vice President of the church, Pastor Babatunde Taiwo, who led others to the shower tributes on the deceased, said the late Pastor Adesoji Ajayi was known for his generosity and most especially modesty. Pastor Taiwo disclosed that the deceased implored the congregation to give him an Islamic-like burial, which he described as a modest funeral ceremony when he passes. The deceased friends and members of this church stated that late Pastor Simon Adesoji Ajayi will be remembered for all his good works in life and the church. The daughter of the deceased, Priscilla Ajayi, and other immediate members of his family, said the legacy of their father will continue to live, being a man who loved to give to the needy.
He's not a flamboyant type. Before he died, he said in many fora that I am a man that believes in if I die today, bury me tomorrow. My grave, make sure you did not set any blocks, nor lay tiles. I want my body to touch the earth so that it will decay very fast. He's a man like that. He said he loved that in the Muslim religion. He does not believe in dying, taking him to the morgue, staying in the morgue for days, months, or years. He does not believe in that.
Transform the church beyond human comprehension. Through his leadership, we were able to achieve a lot. His demise will create a vacuum that only God can assist to cover the whole vacuum.
His biggest virtue was the concept of love. He loves people. He does so much to satisfy people, and he's a very disciplined man. And I think that much he has passed on to us. And I intend, God help me, to build on that legacy.
And I will tell the mission also to continue the work of the Lord. He has started it, and I pray we all finish well. The race is for us to go well, to get to the finish line, which we thank God that He has gotten there. So to God be the glory.
The late Pastor Simon Adesoja Ajayi was appointed president of the Christ Apostolic Mission Church on the 19th of August 2000 by the late Apostle John Ajayi. He died on Sunday, January 16th, 2022 at the age of 71. The Golden Lions Club Ikeja has extended its hand of fellowship to states to Stellites at the Under-Link Bridge in Okpebi area of Lagos as part of activities to kick out anger from the society. The former president of the group, Lion Bridget Banibola, who led the team to distribute food to the people around the slum, hinted the Lions Club, with its years of experience in sustaining and upholding the importance of corporate social responsibility, will continue to give to the needy. She explained that corporate social responsibility is a singular and modest way to recognize and identify with the needs of the society in which one operates, as it brings love and emotional attachment to the people. As such, also creates a long-lasting bond between the giver and the receiver. On a part, Lion Ariola Yoyoloye said the club will continue to play its role in building a strong foundation for the future of younger ones.
It's to do with, providing for the hungry, something like that. And so we are here. You can see that this place is a slum. The ambassadors of people here have come to relate with them, to give something as palliative to help relieve their hunger, sort of. So that's why we are here. How was their response?
Small things they take make people happy. So we decide say today may we come put smile on people face for here to make everybody happy. It's not too much, it's small, but una go help us take on like that.
As in trying to touch lives, the life of the needy, the less privileged, the whole idea is putting smile on the face through food. So the little we have, we give to the needy. We achieved our aim in sense of putting smiles on their face.
Damn bite, and we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you stories from the foreign scene. Welcome back. The United States and Russia have dug in their heels over Russia's military buildup on Ukraine's border, with no sign either will relent from entrenched positions that have raised fears of a Russian invasion and a new war in Europe. In advance of critical talks Friday between the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, the two sides appeared no closer to any compromise that might ease tensions and avert the threat of a Russian invasion. Ukraine, meanwhile, said it was prepared for the worst and would survive whatever difficulties come its way. On a visit to Ukraine's capital, Kiev, on Wednesday, Blinken accused Russia of planning to reinforce the more than 100,000 troops it has deployed along the Ukrainian border and suggested that number could double on relatively short order. Blinken did not elaborate, but Russia has sent an unspecified number of troops from the country's far east to its ally Belarus, which also shares a border with Ukraine, for major war games next month. Speaking during a news conference at the White House, U.S. President Joe Biden predicted Russia would make a move on Ukraine, saying it would pay dearly for a full-scale invasion, but suggesting there could be a lower cost for a minor incursion. At least 2 people have been killed and several injured in a bomb blast in a busy shopping district of Pakistani city of Lahore, police said. Abid Khan, a senior police official, said dead and wounded were transported to a nearby hospital where some were listed in critical condition, adding that officers are still trying to determine what kind of device was used for the attack. Rana Harif, spokesperson for Lahore Police, said initial investigations showed it was a time-control device on a motorbike, which was the cause of the blast. Punjab Chief Minister Usman Buzda was quoted as also saying that the incident is aimed at sabotaging the atmosphere of law and order, while noting that those responsible for the blast will not be able to escape the clutches of the law. There was no immediate claim of responsibility, but there have been a series of blasts and attacks against police since December, when a truce between the government and the Pakistan's Taliban lapsed. Still in Pakistan, a court has sentenced a Muslim woman to death for committing blasphemy by sharing images deemed to be insulting to Islam's Prophet Muhammad and one of his wives, also considered a holy personage by many Muslims. The trial court in the northern Pakistani city of Rawalpindi on Wednesday sentenced Anika Atik under the country's strict blasphemy laws, which imposes a mandatory death penalty for insulting the Prophet Muhammad. Judge Adnan Mustaq wrote in his verdict in the case that the blasphemous material, which was shared, installed by the female accused on her status on WhatsApp messaging platform, and the messages as well as caricature which were sent to the complainant, are totally unbearable and not tolerable for a Muslim. Atik, 26, had pleaded not guilty to the charges, which were first filed in May 2020. In a statement to the court, Atik said our accuser, Hasnat Farouk, had deliberately pulled her into a religious discussion to frame her after she refused to be friendly towards him. The two had met on a popular online multiplayer game and continued communicating on WhatsApp. Atik's death sentence is subject to confirmation by the Lahore High Court, a forum before which she has the right to appeal. Another break will do. When we come back, we'll bring you stories from the sports world. Welcome back. To begin our sports stories, we begin with the African Cup of Nations 2021. And Group E draws to a close at the African Cup of Nations this afternoon, with the defending champions in danger of a humiliating early exit. Algeria, who won their first continental title since 1990 in Egypt 3 years ago, simply have to win in Douala today to avoid joining Ghana by leaving the tournament already. The Fennec Foxes were close to threatening Italy's remarkable unbeaten run after a draw opening draw with Sierra Leone, yet fell victim to one of the biggest ever AFCON shocks against Equatorial Guinea on Sunday. The last that has left Riyad Mahrez and co sitting bottom of the group with just 1 point, with anything other than a victory here sealing their elimination. Barcelona director of football Matteo Almeni has informed Ousmane Dembele to leave the club immediately after repeatedly turning down the offer of a new contract. The Catalan Giants have been in talks with France International since July over extending his existing deal, which runs out at the end of the season. Dembele has struggled to establish himself as a key player at Camp Nou since joining from Borussia Dortmund in 2017 for an initial €105 million due to persistent injury setbacks. Barcelona head coach Xavi recently insisted Dembele could become the best in the world in his position, as he underlined his desire for the forward to agree fresh terms. However, the 24-year-old's agent, Moussa Sissoko, this week said he would not bow to pressure from Barcelona over his client's future. Sissoko also accused the club of making threats of no longer playing in the side rather than engaging in productive talks with Dembele. Mikel Arteta has urged his Arsenal players to do their talking on the field against Liverpool after accusing unnamed parties of lying about the reasons behind Sunday's North London derby postponement. The Gunners had a request to call off the match against fierce rivals Tottenham accepted by the Premier League on Saturday due to having a lack of players available to choose from. However, Arteta's side were accused of exploiting the Premier League's rules for a game to be postponed, with the majority of their players absent due to injury, suspension, or the African Cup of Nations duty. Arsenal had only one confirmed positive COVID-19 case at the time of lodging an application to get the derby called off, but the Premier League deemed they were unable to meet the required number of available players, 13 outfielders and a goalkeeper, despite their under-23s having a squad of 16 for a game on Friday. As the fallout from Sunday's derby cancellation continues, Arsenal have a crucial EFL Cup semi-final second leg against Liverpool to prepare for on Thursday. The tie is delicately poised following last week's goalless draw at Anfield, where Arsenal held on with 10 men for more than an hour after Granit Xhaka sending off. A hampered Emma Raducanu crashed out of the Australian Open with a defeat to Danka Kovinic, in the second round on Tuesday. World number 98 Kovinic beat the US Open champion 6-4, 4-6 and 6-3 on Margaret Court Arena to become the first player representing Montenegro to reach the third round of the Grand Slam. Raducanu was troubled by a blister on her right hand, and although the 17th seed showed her fighting spirit to take a topsy-turvy match, the distance, she was unable to avoid an early exit. Clearly restricted by a damaged hand, the favourite mixed up her approach intelligently with a measured slice forehand and leveled the match courtesy of 2 breaks and overcooked forehand from Kovinic ending the set. Kovinic will face 2-time major winner Simona Halep or Beatrice Haddad-Mayer for a place in the 4th round at the Melbourne Park, having struck 40 winners to Raducanu's 27 in the biggest win of her career. That's it on the news at 6. Join us again at 9:30 for our primetime news. I am Tomisi Ojo. Good evening.